My wife is so overprotective over our children that it's crumbling our marriage. My wife Laura and I have been married for 9 years. We were together since high school and had our first everything. We got married at 20. I enrolled in university while she worked part-time to support our expenses. We were grateful as my parents had paid for my college and so we didn't have too much debt or any other financial obligations. Within a few months after our wedding we realized that she was pregnant and we weren't thrilled. Our baby girl was a force to reckon with and no birth control was stopping her from coming into the world and kicking our butts. Laura wasn't so overjoyed during the initial months of her pregnancy. I did mention termination once if she wanted to and told her I would be fully supportive either way. She instantly shut me down saying that wasn't an option as she comes from a religious family that would disown her. Around the 4th month, we found out the gender and I saw my wife slowly warming up to the idea of having an actual human being inside her, and at almost 18 weeks, she felt the first movement of the baby inside her stomach. Now that I think of it, it was an instant change. Before we got the pregnancy news, she had applied for an accounting course and had gotten an admission. She had even started her classes and continued attending them though she was pregnant. I first noticed her reluctance around week 30 when she continuously took a few sick leaves even though she wasn't sick. I confronted her about it and she broke down saying she didn't want to attend uni while pregnant because her stomach was getting big and everyone was noticing that she was actually pregnant. At first I thought she was embarrassed to be pregnant in front of her classmates at a relatively young age. But upon further talking to her I realized that she wasn't embarrassed. Rather she was afraid someone would try to hurt her. She was terrified of falling down the stairs or slipping or eating something she wasn't supposed to or drinking alcohol accidentally. I was confused and like any other person thought her fears were way too irrational. Why would anyone try to purposefully hurt a pregnant woman? I asked her if she felt like she was being threatened by someone and she simply shook her head no. She begged me to let her drop out just until the baby was old enough to go to daycare or be placed with a babysitter. She promised me she'd continue with her studies after. Fast forward a couple more months and she gives birth to our beautiful baby girl. I was so instantly in love with her and so was my wife. During the remaining months of her pregnancy, my wife rarely went out and that too only for appointments at the doctor. I called her mother and asked her to be with my wife for some time so that she wouldn't be alone all day. My wife wasn't a big fan of that idea either, but she liked the idea of not having to do rough jobs around the house since her mother would help her out. After delivery was the worst. My wife didn't let anyone help her out with the baby. Everyone was so excited to meet the baby but my wife was so on the fence and overwhelmed with anyone holding our daughter that it started annoying everyone. Soon everyone started talking behind her back. I tried my best to defend her and asked all our relatives to give us space since she was a new mom and needed her space. Laura didn't let anyone help her out with our daughter. She barely let me take care of my own child. She was overworked and running on no sleep but would still let no one help her out with our baby, not even me. Once she fell asleep for almost 6 hours after not getting any sleep for days. I didn't wake her up because I wanted her to get some decent sleep and took care of our baby by myself. I fed her the bottle of milk Laura had pumped and changed her diapers. When Laura woke up all hell broke loose and she started having a mental breakdown calling me a terrible person for basically letting her sleep, and she called herself a horrible mother for not being awake to care for our child. At this point I was even overwhelmed and frustrated. I put our daughter to bed and shut the door before sitting her down and having a long talk with her. She started crying explaining she was scared something would happen to our child if she wasn't there to take care of her. She had read about conditions where babies have passed away suddenly or while being entrusted to someone else who is not the mother. I didn't understand if this was normal or not. At that time I wrote it off as a mother being concerned about her baby. I have heard about new mothers having their hormones all over the place. I told her I understood she didn't want another person near our child but that she had no right to keep me away. I explained that we are a team and we would be raising our baby together, not just her alone. Since that day, she loosened the knot just a little with me to give me enough gap to take care of our baby and give her time to get some good sleep. But then our daughter grew older.